Mr. Accuse joins us on the program. Is a public affairs analyst. He joins us right here in I almost said Abuja studio. I have to take a pause to remind myself where we are. Looking dapper as always. How you doing, sir?
That's very kind of you.
It's a Monday morning. It's
a new month.
Yeah, and it's a brand new month with loads of things. I would like you to. I don't think any of the dailies carried it, but I'd like you to touch on the River State, which we see as sitting on a lot of legal landmines, even though the election has been conducted. And I call it the miracle of Obiakpo that happened yesterday. 320-something thousand votes for the local government election.
Miraculously appeared.
Miraculously appeared. This is why we say we should use beavers, because without beavers, things like this will happen at the end of the day. In fact, one of the things I saw with the minister, I think I saw his aide. I think Larry, if I'm correct, so his aide, and I saw one of his friends who was a former minister also in Port Harcourt. I don't know what both of them were doing at the polling unit on election day in Port Harcourt. None of them is from River State. So that's me just being cheeky on that side.
Yes.
But let's talk about the Abuja Inquirer. You add that to your comment on Rivers.
Okay.
And this has to do with the FCT where he operates. Inside the FCT broken educational system, CSO decries dilapidated LEA schools, pupils abandoned classrooms for farms, invigilators owed marking fees since February.
Wow. Okay, on Rivers, I'm actually surprised that you guys are expressing surprise at the way the elections went. This has always been a recurring problem in terms of the state independent electoral commissions. We've always said that the outcome of a local government election is directly related to the governor's interest. The governor has so much power that local government elections generally are written even before the day of the election. Where do we conclude that such things happen? Look at all the local governments across the country. I don't think there's any one, maybe Rivers has set a record, there's anyone in which the councils have any representation by the opposition. All you hear is the ruling party swept all the chairmanship positions, all the councillorship positions. It's always the ruling party. Why? First of all, let's look at Rivers. The election was organized by the the administrator that was appointed by the president in a state of emergency. The administrator appointed the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission chairman. The chairman conducted the elections. Now, there's always been this issue about the state of election between Fubara and Wike. Wike is probably the smartest politician in Nigeria today, because despite the fact that he stamped his grip on the grassroots and the structure in Rivers State, he delivered his own polling unit. He made sure PDP won his own polling unit, so that he can't be accused of
his own local government.
His own local government, not even his unit, his own local government. Amazing number of votes. So how do you accuse him of anti-party if he's delivering his own local government? Absolutely. So I think that local government reforms that have occurred, autonomy and all that, it falls a bit short if the governor is still in charge of appointing the commissioner of the independent. How do you have an independent electoral body if it's not only appointed by the governor, but funded by the governor, directed by the governor, and guided by the governor? So I think not just at local government level, but holistically, nationally, we need to review, we need to have electoral reform that makes INEC and all the state independent truly independent. Let them not be appointed by the president or by the governor. Let's have an independent body that screens and vets and recommends whoever. I mean, look, for example, Mahmoud Yakubu is going away. He's done his 2 terms, 10 years. This is the last election he has organized. The jury is still out on his performance. Did he do well? Did he do better than Jega? Under his watch, IREF came in, Beavers came in. They didn't use all those things in the local council election yesterday, which may have had a basis for why more results were recorded than in the national elections. So we have a long way to go. And you look at it and you ask yourself, first of all, was it even right for the administrator to be the one to conduct local government elections? The administrator is not democratically elected. The person that was democratically elected is put aside for now. But does yesterday really reflect the will of the people of Rivers State? Can you categorically state that when it was not organized by people who are democratically put in by the electorate? So we have a lot of questions to answer about this Rivers State election. Will it hold muster when all the litigation starts and all the complaints start? Will it hold up to scrutiny? I don't know. I think there are a lot of questions to answer. You pointed out a lot of things when you spoke initially about some discrepancies. So let's wait and see. But for now, Wike is in charge. He has let us know who the big man is in River State politics. And the state of emergency is actually coming to an end. I think it's September 18. Fubara stylishly sidestepped his presence at these elections. He didn't show up. None of his loyalists showed up. None of the 23 local government chairmen who were removed or suspended by the state of emergency, none of them showed up to participate in these elections. And of course, their claim is you already knew the outcome was a foregone conclusion. Why should they participate in something they know that won't go in their favor? So I don't think we've seen the end of this yet. I think it just may be a temporary hurrah that might still get upturned in certain ways because there are too many discrepancies. But let's wait and see. On Abuja.
Yeah, Abuja.
On Abuja, you see commissioning of bridges and roads every other day, and the minister makes a big show, has a press conference and blows his trumpet about him being Mr. Projects. But the developmental indices that matter to the sustenance of human life immediately, health, education, agriculture, food, those things are getting short shrift. And you look at the report on the schools. Invigilators are owed fees. Students are not able to go to class. They are going to farm to be able to feed themselves. And it's heartbreaking because, of course, education is the linchpin, is the bedrock of development and civilization. And if you say the future belongs to the youth, and at their fundamental developmental stage, they're not getting the educational and intellectual nurturing that will assure them of a better future, then we're doomed even before we start. So I ask, what is the benefit of all the infrastructure, all the commissioning of roads and bridges? Who are the people that are going to use these things if you're not giving them the skills by which they can become productive citizens? What's the use of having a bridge if there are no cars? Or if there are no people who can drive cars because they have no jobs to go to? So I think it's putting the cart before the horse when you subjugate education for infrastructure. You don't give it as much prioritization. I think it basically shortchanges the Abuja resident, and it's not fair.
It's a lot to unpack from what you said. But we'll go over to Vanguard newspaper, Mr. Akintobi.
Yes.
And Vanguard leads with something quite different. It's about petrol consumption. It says petrol consumption down 28%. Ipman groans. Operators recount ordeal, list causes. Pump hands idle at stations. It's a trying time for us, say marketers. Frequent price changes unhealthy for sector, expert warns. So you can see the graph on the front page of the Vanguard of the drop from June 2020 to 2021, same year. Went up, I think stayed the same 2022, but then started dropping 2023, 2024, 2025. And we're at about 49.28 million liters. That's what we see now for June 2025. So I don't know, obviously it's bad news for the marketers, the people who are selling. But maybe is it good news for the people who are buying? Because it looks like a lot of people are seeking alternatives. I see a lot of people's generating sets now using gas. I was at someone's apartment recently and said gas is almost finished. I'm thinking, okay, is it for cooking? I said, no, it's for the generating set. I'm like, oh, that's brilliant. So is it sort of a mixed bag? Or maybe it's bad for the marketers, but maybe good for the people who use these products. How do you see it?
Well, it's interesting to see that report is no lie, because if you are observant, you pass through petrol stations, you see the pump attendants actually sitting down with nothing to do. Nobody's driving in to come and buy their fuel. And if they see you coming, about 20 of them jump up and start trying to direct you to their own pump. up so that it is them that get the sale. And that goes to show that actually petrol consumption is dropping precipitously. I think because of the whole subsidy regime and all the stuff about that, we actually didn't have a good handle on what our daily consumption was
in the first place. Right?
In the first place. But I think it's clear to see that the momentum has dropped, and that probably is not unrelated to the fluctuations in price, to the fact that it costs more and that people are seeking alternatives. So from a consumerist standpoint, tough times bring about creative solutions, you know, so people are finding alternatives. Solar is very big now in terms of powering homes. CNG, which hasn't really taken off the way the administration touted it in the beginning, but people are finding alternatives. You do see gas tanks, you do see canisters of gas that used to be isolated to your oven and your cooking being adapted. You know, Nigerians, we're a very creative set of people. We have artisans who will look at a problem and devise an unorthodox solution. So I've actually, what you just talked about now, I've actually seen cooking gas canisters adapted to power I better pass my neighbor generators. And you think about that level of creativity, that we have to survive. And we will find creative ways to put food on our table, to keep our homes powered, to pay school fees. Tough times call for creative solutions. And there's no doubt, in spite of all the rosy projections, government says it has stabilized the economy. Okay, so let's give it benefit of the doubt. It has stabilized the economy. The numbers look rosy. They paid off foreign debt in dollars. Foreign reserve is up. Oil production is up. So the numbers, the data looks rosy, but it has not yet translated to economic benefits to the man on the street. Stable economy stabilizes over a length of time. And the challenge for every government is how to translate that stability to sustainability over time. The man in the street today is not yet feeling the benefit of that stability in the economy. And that's where the challenge comes in for the players, the Minister of Finance, CBN Governor, FIRS Chairman, all the people that are pulling the levers of the economy have the challenge to translate into, I don't like that term, dividends of democracy, because it sounds like stomach infrastructure stuff we're talking about, but has to translate into economic dividends for the everyday Nigerian. That's not happening right now.
It's interesting. The banks also play a huge role, and I'm just mentioned on the front page, Union Bank completes merger with Titan Trust Bank. It's a page 24 read. Interesting times.
That's a preemptive strike against this recapitalization. Those who foresee that they may not be able to make it on their own are looking for alliances, mergers, acquisitions. How do we consolidate and come together to be able to meet this humongous stratospheric capital requirement put out by the CBN, which I think is good for the economy, because it means the weaker ones will have to consolidate or merge to be able to shore up the banking system, because that is the bedrock of the economy, is the banking system.
Mr. Accuse, before I let you go, in just 2 minutes, Capital Project, New Telegraph, by the way, is the paper we're looking at. Capital Projects distribution equitable to all zones, federal government. The writer says Northwest's biggest beneficiary rules out sabotage on the Abuja Kaduna train mishap, unveils new curriculum for basic, senior secondary and technical education. This back and forth, how long will it last?
Well, the government will always, of course, tout its own position that favors what it is doing. And I read the statement by the minister, and I looked at all the lists. He tried to give data that showed that, okay, these are the projects we've done in the Northwest, these are the projects we've done in the South, if you count them one by one, but that's subjective. It's up to who is presenting the data and who is interpreting it. I'm sure that on both sides there were projects that were added, there were others that were left out, and that list may not be exhaustive, and you're just trying to present a position. Of course, this administration has been accused of the fact that it prefers certain zones to other zones, both in appointments, in projects, in funding, in everything. And when this kind of a claim is made, it's all about 2027 in terms of trying to shore up your base and the areas where you are weak. And even if you are allocating more projects to one place than the other, I sort of make an exception for Abuja and Lagos, for example, in their analysis, saying that those two merit special consideration. Lagos being the economic engine room of Nigeria, and Abuja being the capital, as so civil service structured, that they both merit special consideration, but that this administration is fair in its distribution, that is actually done. Because the accusation is, you know, the administration favors one particular zone where the president is from, and more is being done in that area than in other areas, and they listed the projects. Well, how true is it? It's up to the interpreter. The bottom line is one will always present a position that favors what you have been doing. So I don't think the list is exhaustive. I think it's all perception of the person who's looking at the results. But at the end of the day, government does need to be equitable and fair in its distribution. But also, it can't be by a rigid rule. You have to look at things like population, poverty levels. I don't expect that the rich states will get as much assistance or succor or developmental aid as the poorer states would be, so that we all need to kind of be on a level, you know. So more power to the government. Let's keep it up.
There's a lot to talk about. That to be public affairs analyst, always bringing your very sharp insight into the issues of national importance and interest. Thank you, sir.
You are too kind to me.
We'll take a quick break. When we come back after this break, we'll be talking Rivers State and the elections held. APC 20 out of the 23, PDP won 3, and there's a lot of talking point, legal line mines, and the conduct of the election itself. All of that is going to be the potpourri of the expatiation we'll do with our guests right here on the program in just a moment. Stay with us.